Was that who I think it was at the end of this episode? I sure hope so, and if it is, then that gets me so excited for this new season because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back to talk about Superman and Lois Season 2. It is finally here. The probably best Arrowverse show has returned, and I am so happy about this. I mean, Season 1 was just phenomenal, especially compared to other Arrowverse shows on the CW, and now Season 2 has returned, and wow, it's definitely off to a great start, to say the least. Because, I mean, there's a lot going on in this episode. There's a lot set up, a lot of different storylines, a lot of different characters, a lot of different, just a whole bunch of things going on here in the Season 2 premiere of Superman and Lois. And guys, we have so much to talk about because of everything that happened here. So, of course, I want to give a quick spoiler warning if you've not yet seen this episode, because I am talking spoilers. It's so good to be back with this show. Superman and Lois, it's a great series. And like I said, Season 2 is off to a great start. So now, without further ado, let's go and jump into this and break down Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 1. So the episode starts with a direct continuation from the Season 1 finale, where now Natalie, the daughter of John Henry Irons, has now arrived on our Earth Prime, and of course that causes quite a bit of confusion, because she sees Lois, and on her Earth, Lois was her mother. This Lois is not her mother, so she gets super confused and at first thinks that she is her mom, so there's all that and just a whole bunch of confusion there, and it just adds a whole lot of complicatedness for this episode, specifically with that character. And really, everybody's lives in this episode gets complicated. Some of them get resolved, some of them do not. Because then, all of a sudden, we just flash forward 3 months later, which I did think was a little weird, but at the same time, like, we've got so much going on here, it makes sense they need to just, get on with the story and really progress things forward. And yeah, so we flash forward to 3 months later, and we get to catch up with all of our characters, and they're, like I said, pretty much all of them are in some pretty rough spots right now. Like, for example, he's in a tough spot with the government right now because he goes off and we get a great Superman action sequence as he saves a submarine, but as we find out, it's a North Korean submarine, so of course that causes some conflict with the DoD, who he goes to talk with the DoD. We know, of course, General Lane, Lois's father, at the end of Season 1 retired from his role as General of the DoD. So now we have General Anderson, who has taken over his role, and he is concerned about Superman's loyalties because he's like, oh, you saved a North Korean submarine, so are you loyal to America? And it's like, geez, bro, like, what was he supposed to do? Just let them drown? Like, he's the American hero, but still, he's not just gonna let him die, So yeah, this Anderson guy, already not a fan of him, but that's a good thing because we're not supposed to like him. But he's definitely going to be a big threat throughout the season. It's been teased that in this season we're going to have multiple villains, both actual big, bad, powerful supervillains that Superman is actually battling and fighting, and also more ground level villains that are like more mental kind of threats in the form of General Anderson. But meanwhile, we also have Lois, of course, doing her thing over at the Smallville Gazette. She and Chrissy are trying to hire a new reporter so they can really get things off the ground and get things running there. But not too much with them on that storyline in this episode, but of course we'll see more on that in the future. And of course, the apple does not fall far from the tree because just like Lois and Clark, the kids are having some troubles as well. So, of course, we have Jordan. He and Sarah are in a relationship, or, well, at least for now, are in a relationship, because we find out that Sarah actually went away to camp for about a month, so now she's finally returned home from camp, and so Jordan wants to go see her, but she's kind of, like, dodging him, like, she's just avoiding him and being like, oh, I don't feel that well, like, I feel terrible, and, like, all this stuff, and she's just, like, acting really weird, and I have no idea what's going on with her. What if... I mean, the thing that makes the most sense that just, like, seeing on, like, other shows and stuff like that is that maybe something happened at camp. Like, there's a possibility maybe she cheated on him, or it was... maybe it was even an accident, like somebody kissed her, and she just feels really guilty about that, and that's why she doesn't want to be around him. That's just my theory. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But Jordan is just... Man, I feel bad for Jordan because he's just trying his best. I mean, he's in love with her. He just wants to see his girlfriend after her being away for a month, and she just is avoiding him. And then it's kind of the opposite for Jonathan. He's not really having any girl troubles. He's having troubles on the field because, of course, he loves playing football. But we know that in season 1, his hand was broken. So now 3 months later, he's not completely healed, but he's at least more healed to the point where he's back to playing football. He's been playing for about 2 weeks now, but coach isn't giving him much playing time, and he is just super frustrated about this. So he's ranting about this on the way home. Clark drops him and his girlfriend Candace off at the Kent farmhouse, and then Clark goes off to go save the submarine. But then Lois comes home, and she comes home to find Jonathan and Candace having sex. So, well, I don't know if they were actually doing it, but he wasn't wearing a shirt. Things were definitely going down that road. So of course she's freaking out. She's not happy at seeing this, and obviously Jonathan probably wasn't too happy about his mother walking in on this either. But when Clark returns home, Lois is of course mad at him, why did you leave him home alone, because now they're doing it and all this stuff, and they're 15-year-old teenage boys, and oh, of course they're gonna do that, and all that stuff. So tensions are high there. They're fighting, everybody's fighting in this episode. Even with Lana and Kyle, she is now fully supporting Daniel Hart for the new mayor, and she's super involved in his campaign, and you kind of get the feeling that Kyle is feeling kind of jealous about that, about all the time that they're spending together. By the end of the episode, that's resolved, and they make up and make out as well in the kitchen. But so tensions are high in this episode with all the relationships going on here. But especially for Natalie, who of course is kind of our new character, she's not a new character because we saw her in the first season, but this is the first time she's now a series regular, and she's going to be main character of this show. And so she's starting school today. She's been on this planet for 3 months, and life is just miserable for her because John Henry Irons, her father, even mentions to her, you're going to go to school and you're going to see your best friends, but just know that they're not actually your best friends, and they don't even know who you are because, the whole different planets and Earths and stuff like that. So she's not doing very well here, and she actually tells her father that she actually left school after first period because it was just not going well for her. And then she didn't even meet back up with her father until 3 hours after school was let out. So who knows what she was even doing. She said she just went on a walk, but who knows what she was actually doing. And Lois is also dealing with a bunch of trauma from the whole Natalie situation because, of course, when Natalie first showed up, Natalie thought that was her mother, and Lois obviously felt nothing. So this makes her kind of relate to her mother and is is this what my mother felt like when she left us, when she left our family and all this stuff? And she just feels guilty and feels bad, but at the same time it's not really her fault. And Clark of course consoles her and everything and all that stuff, but then things get even worse because everything just keeps on happening in this episode because there's this giant earthquake. So of course Superman, he goes up in the air to look around, see what's going on here, see if he can investigate, and he flies into a mine to save some people. But then there's some Kryptonian soldiers there. We don't know if they're actually Kryptonian, but they are wearing chest plates with the red House of L Kryptonian symbol on it. So that's kind of weird. And all of a sudden, Clark gets this crazy headache vision thing. And then all of a sudden, when he snaps out of that, the Kryptonian people are gone. And so he goes back to the DOD after the earthquake is over. And he finds out that these soldiers actually work for Anderson and are a part of their school for the gifted. So, of course, Superman is completely against this. He's this is a terrible idea, putting them out in the field when they're untrained and all this stuff, and just, using them against their will. And, of course, Anderson is oh, well, I don't trust you, and, we need our own soldiers, and blah, blah, blah. And, man, things are getting crazy up in here. So, we definitely know that we're going to be seeing these two butting heads a lot throughout the season. And then this is where the episode kind of shifts away from the more action-packed stuff and goes back into the more emotional, dramatic stuff where Lois actually meets up with Natalie and talks to her. And, again, even though it isn't her fault specifically, she still apologizes for her whole situation and everything she's been through. And then by the end of this, actually, she takes them back to the Kent farm, and now we have Natalie and John Henry Irons are actually going to be living on the farm with the Kents, which is actually great. Just one big happy family all living together. I assume there's still going to be living in their RV, or maybe not. Maybe they have a guest bedroom in the farmhouse. I don't know for sure. But at least they're going to be living on the property of the Kent farm. So yeah, one big happy family. You think you get this great happy ending, great start to the season and all this stuff. All of a sudden, no, you can't just leave it there. We got to find out what's causing these earthquakes, and it's not a what, it's a who. Because then all of a sudden it pans down to below the surface of the earth, and you see down in the rockiness of the earth's core a giant fist just punching through. So somebody or something is down there punching in the center of the earth, trying to escape. So what is this? Well, all we see is a big fist just punching. It's a super quick shot, super blurry. You can't really tell. All I could make out is it looked like some sort of like, I don't know, like mechanical or metal suit, and there was like a circle on it that looked like some sort of light. So at first I was super confused, like who could this even be? But I think the only obvious answer is Doomsday. I think we're getting Doomsday, because now you may be wondering, like, Doomsday doesn't wear clothes. Well, actually, when he was first introduced in the comics, in the original Death of Superman comic, he was actually wearing originally like this crazy green suit when he was first sent to Earth, and he first escaped and first was unleashed and everything. And then it was as he fought Superman that his suit was ripped apart and he was unveiled as this crazy, monstrous, gray, spiky Kryptonian beast. So, wow. This is awesome that we're getting Doomsday. Then again, it could be someone other than Doomsday, but I really have no idea who else it could be. This has to be Doomsday. And it is interesting to think about, though, like, why they would be doing Doomsday at this point, because, of course, Doomsday kind of means the death of Superman. But, I mean, it's only the second season of the show, so I do kind of feel like it's, like, a little early to be doing that, but at the same time, I mean, they're doing Doomsday, so I can't complain too much. And with how good this show is, I have no doubt that they're going to do justice to the character of Doomsday, because so far, the Doomsday we've seen in live action so far has not been great. I mean, Batman v Superman was just terrible. The design was disgusting. Looked like a deformed, gray, wet dog. I don't even know how to describe it. We did get a version of Doomsday on Krypton, which is a really good show, and that was a great design for the character. Actually, a really well executed version of Doomsday, but this one, I have a feeling is going to be much, much better, and I'm so excited to see what his design looks like. Of course, it is on the CW, so you have to expect that maybe the budget will be lower, but then again, Superman and Lois does have a higher budget, so I don't know, but I just know I'm excited for this. I believe we are getting Doomsday. I don't know if he's going to be the main villain of this season, or if there's going to be some other bigger force that's, like, controlling him. I'm not completely sure, but I know I'm excited for this, and I hope you guys are as well. I think this season is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see what's in store. But guys, that is the end of Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 1, the premiere. So excited to get in this season with you guys next week with Episode 2 and all the other future episodes of Season 2 of Superman and Lois. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Superman and Lois Season 2? What do you think about all the different storylines that were set up in? And do you think that was Doomsday at the end? So anyways, guys, stay tuned for my other Arrowverse reviews. I'm going to be doing a video on Naomi, the series premiere of Naomi. Of course, I'll be doing a video on the new episode of the Book of Boba Fett on my other channel, The Star Wars Life, tomorrow, / today, depending on when you see this video. Also, we're returning to Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow. So I'm going to be covering it all. We got a lot to look forward to this week. Also, Peacemaker on Thursday. Wow, this is going to be a busy week for me, but I'm so excited to take it on. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep it up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.